Hi y'all, Susie Toronto here. I know we're a little bit early before the live broadcast was supposed to start, but I thought that before I got going, I'd give you a real quick view of our back shipping warehouse area. I know I showed y'all a vision of the inside of our studio where we do a lot of our work, but I thought this would be kind of fun for you to see this. Let me just turn this around so you can kind of see. This is truly a warehouse. As you can see, we've got all of our stuff, all of our product, shipping product, heat press machines, everything's stacked up nice and high and neat and organized. Personally, I don't know where anything is out here, but that's why I have Robert, who works for me, who is absolutely amazing at it all. Anyway, I'm going to head on back into the studio right now to finish talking to you and get our broadcast started for today. So the reason I was late finishing up in there and coming on over is I went for a walk on the beach this morning, and I love my morning walks. By the way, any of you who are interested in coming to Florida on a vacation, Florida's opening, which can be a good thing or a scary thing. I just thought I'd give you a rundown on that. Right now, the theme parks are talking about opening up with all kinds of new guidelines, and you are only allowed to be on the beach with your chairs separated. And actually, as of last night, you couldn't have chairs, but I understand that we can have chairs now. So the crazy thing is that you're allowed to fish. So if you're fishing, you can sit down. So a police officer stopped my nephew yesterday, who was sitting with his little child on the beach, and told him he couldn't be sitting, but that if he would just go get a pole and tie a string to it and throw the string in the water, he would be allowed to stay there and fish. Really weird how people are getting around everything. But I happen to be blessed to live in a county that's got one of the lowest COVID-19 rates right now, and so we're doing good. But what was interesting, the reason I was kind of delayed getting back to the studio here is I ran into a guy and his wife walking on the beach, and some people that I knew, and she stopped and asked me about my little necklace, the little Living Plan B necklace, which I take as my symbol and my badge of resiliency during this whole thing that we're going through. Anyway, she was asking me, we were talking, very pleasantly, and all of a sudden, her husband goes off into this tirade and anger about the government and about the stimulus money and about the whole COVID thing. And he's one of those conspiracy people who thinks the whole thing's a big conspiracy. And the interesting thing about it is I'm thinking, like, he's yelling at me, not at me, but towards me in my direction. And I'm thinking, if I wanted to listen to this, I think I could just go on Facebook and read a bunch of angry posts there. And I've thought that on Facebook, that has been a really interesting thing, as I'm sure many of you have. I know that you're a lot like me and that you're trying to keep a really good attitude through this whole thing. And there has been so much anger all over social media. And, I get it. People are hurt and they're frustrated and they're fearful and they're exploding with anger. And the thing is, I don't really believe that anger like that solves anything. All it does is rile you up inside and get your blood pumping, but not necessarily in a good way. I feel like, for me anyway, and for most of the friends I know, it just totally depletes the oxygen in the room. It pulls the rug out from underneath us. And I feel like it destroys everything that we possibly can do to make this a good situation. And yet I know that some people just don't have the skills. They don't know what to do, so they lash out immediately with this anger. But, I've always believed that anger, and especially vulgarity, which there's been a lot of that on Facebook too, is no substitute for a keen mind and a sharp wit. So I think what we need to do, instead of being angry that we don't get our stimulus money and we haven't got all of our different things going on, and our business is going down the tubes and all those kind of things that are happening, that are all very, very real. And everybody is facing them. It's not just a few here and there. We are all feeling it. And, I think that sometimes we see a lot of things on Facebook that some people seem to be truly thriving and doing, amazing. Just remember what my friend Carl Kroll in the Philippines said to me one time. Nobody is as interesting as they pretend to be on Facebook. So just know that we're all struggling through this. We're all trying to reinvent the new blueprint of what our life is going to be like. I've thought several times during this whole process as my husband and I have been running the studio single-handed because we don't have any of our people here working. You know, I can't decide if this is trying to kill me or make me stronger, but it's sure doing something. It's made me realize, however, that all storms that come into our life are not necessarily meant to disrupt our life. I think that sometimes they come into our life to clear our path. Now think about that for a minute. Is it possible that there is a different side to this pandemic we're going through, that it's not here to disrupt our lives and simply make us uncomfortable? Or maybe it is to make us a little uncomfortable, but it's there to clear the path for our future. I've been reading a lot, as I'm sure a lot of you have been too. Reading and listening to books at the same time. It gets a little crazy, but and I just finished rereading the book called The Greatest Generation by Tom Brokaw. And I know that it's been out for a long, long time. I read it when it first came out, and it was just a great book. And so I reread it. And hey, Betty Renfro, I'm sitting in the studio. Betty's a friend of mine. Anyway, I read this book and I just loved it so much. I thought it was just an awesome book about our generation. And I felt so proud to be a product of that generation. My parents were the greatest generation that he was talking about. And you know, they lived through the Depression, they lived through the world wars, they lived through so much. And yet, they realized they couldn't change the past. They simply picked themselves up and looked towards the future. They were focused on building a wonderful future for their children. Us. They are our legacy. And wouldn't they just be ashamed to see us ranting and raving all over Facebook about how angry we all are when we should be following in their footsteps? So, here's the thing. I believe with all my heart, all of these problems that we're facing, now not the COVID itself, because we really can't change that, but all the problems that we're facing, the solution to them lies in our heads. When things start to change inside of our heads, we can start to change things on the outside. It's inevitable. It just happens. Our positive attitude is contagious. Our ability to think clearly and to open up new concepts becomes more and more relevant to us. And we are able to move forward with that new attitude in that new environment. So people keep saying, I just want things to get back to normal. I got news for you. Normal is gone. Normal is a thing of the past. We are going to be looking for a new life, a new normal that we will be able to create. It's not about going back. It's about moving forward. And like I said, it all starts in our head. First thing we need to do, number one, is we need to replace, why is all this happening to us? Why is all this happening to me and my family? And replace it with, what is this trying to teach me? Is it possible that there is a wonderful opportunity for learning and for growing that we're missing here? I think that there is. And it's our ability to tap into our creativity. Now, I've had fun posting a lot of my new fine art that I've been dabbling into. And you've all been really kind, and some of you have been pretty funny about how you don't have any artistic ability. But I want you to know that just because your creative talents do not lie in two-dimensional art and painting, it doesn't mean that you are not instilled with the creativity and God-given gifts of talent that can manifest themselves in so many ways. But it's your choice to tap into those. You get to be the one that decides when and how you're going to do it and what that's going to look like. So one of the things that you need to realize is that when you change your thought process, you change the entire future that lies before you. With your mind open to this new concept that you have creativity to burn, you can create the new blueprints for your future. My sweet daughter-in-law is an architect, and she is amazing at what she does. I love looking at the blueprints and the outlines and the sketches that she's doing for the hotels that she builds. By the way, she's living in Plan B right now, because guess who's not building hotels during all of this? But anyway, as she builds these beautiful blueprints for these creative buildings and creative environments that are soon to be built, she is seeing beyond the present. She is seeing beyond her office desk. She is looking into the future, and in her mind's eye, she has the vision of what it's going to be. I had the opportunity this last summer of walking through one of her brand new hotels that she had just completed. And I had seen some of the blueprints, and I kept saying to her, whoa, look how great this turned out. Can you believe how great that looks? Or look at this pool, this looks so amazing. Did you ever think it would be like this? And she goes, yes, I did. I saw it all. I envisioned it all before it happened. And then I made it happen. Mind blown, okay? Mind totally blown. That's what we need to do. We need to capture the vision of what we want our future to look like. We need to start right now drawing the blueprints for that new future and then create it. Wouldn't it just be something if we realized that our plan A that we've been living up until this point, which we thought was so wonderful and so perfect and everything all lined up in nice little teeny cubicles, was nothing compared to the plan B that is awaiting us right now. And we've got it within us. I think that's the exciting part. I really do. So as we started reinventing our whole business, and we kept trying to ask ourselves, how do we look in the future and what do we do? I told my husband, I can't think, I'm running out of ideas. And I remember something that one of my friends told me. One day I was in my studio and I was working on my calendar. I have so much fun creating my calendars every year. And as I'm working on this calendar, I looked at my husband and I said, I don't have any more ideas. And he goes, what do you mean you don't have any ideas? And I go, I can't think of anything. I haven't got any more ideas. And my girlfriend Roxanne, who was in my studio that day, said, what a silly thing to say. You are an infinite being. You were created by a heavenly Father with infinite abilities. Why would your creativity and ideas be finite? Another mind blow. Really? I'm infinite? I have infinite ability and capacity to think up new creative solutions? Okay, alrighty then. I'm gonna do it. And I sat down and I started working on it with a whole new attitude. There again, remember, you change your mind, you change everything around you. You have to change the idea of the limiting beliefs of your future and look forward into what can possibly be. Many years ago, when I wrote my second book, which is The Sacred Sisterhood of Wonderful Wacky Women, Book 2, I wrote the story of a young woman who, at the age of 19, found herself a divorced, single mother of two. It was a very devastating blow for her. She had no family support, nothing. And as she stepped back and realized that this was not the life that she wanted for her children and for herself, she decided to create a new story for herself. It took her a long time, and it was not easy. But I want you to know right now, she is a very successful person. She is a psychologist. She went and got her doctorate degree, and she is a psychologist now, and she helps people who are going through the same situation that she had gone through. She had taken a situation, turned it around, and made a new plan B for herself. You all know my story about living Plan B. Life is all about how we handle Plan B. And I truly believe with all my heart, it's the true test of our character. That's when our true colors are going to start shining through. Are they going to shine through by us going on Facebook and having an angry rant that's filled with vulgarity? Or is it going to be about looking forward into the future that we're going to create for ourselves? Join me in embracing Plan B. I'm wearing my Plan B necklace every single day because I am determined to embrace the idea of living Plan B. I'm going to come out of this shining high and bright. And you can do that too. It's not easy. And remember, none of this is as great as it looks on Facebook. I have moments too where it's tough and I struggle. But every time I do, I get my mind back into the right mindset that I can do anything and I can create this whole brand new future. Join me. I would love to walk along the same path with you. I know that your journey is different than mine, but it doesn't mean that we can't be there for each other. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and embrace Plan B. If you want a piece of my jewelry, go to the website. If you just want some encouragement, go to my website and read. There's all kinds of fun, uplifting, inspiring things there for you to share and to enjoy. Mahalo nui.